So I just got out of seeing Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This is a quick out of the theater review. I don't have time to shoot a full length edited review. So here's my quick thoughts in probably about 5 minutes. I like this movie. This is a good movie. There are starting off with the positives. Harrison Ford steps right back into the role of Indiana Jones. He's great in the role, as he is always, and he adds some more layers of kind of being an elderly Indiana Jones, not being able to do all the things that he used to be able to do. I like that element. He's really great in the role, as you'd expect. From there, I think that this film has some good action. This film has some really good, car chases. The scene that we were shown at CinemaCon, and it's a car chase throughout, I think, Egypt, and it's a really fantastic scene. There's a lot of scenes in here that are, like the opening train sequence, most of it is great. There are a couple issues that I have with it, though, and most of the action feels like an Indiana Jones movie. From there, I really liked all the, just hints and nods to Indiana Jones previous to this film. Most of them were pretty creative, but I also really enjoyed that we got a lot of returning characters back, like Sala and a couple other good surprises. And even though, I think Sala should have been in more of the film from what he's in, it does a really good job with. And something I wasn't expecting was them to actually accept that King Crystal Skull happened, while it kind of acknowledging that it's not a great movie. There are mentions of his son in the film, and there's very clearly images of his son, Shia LaBeouf, in the movie. And I think the way that they address that is really well. It gives Harrison Ford a good emotional scene or two. And I always thought that, and from the get, that was an emotional part of this film that I really liked. And it kind of explains why his character is at this point in life, at the time that he's living. Other things that I liked was, the ending of this film got me a bit choked up. There's certain things that are said and certain things that happen with certain characters, as well as Harrison Ford, that just call back to the original, that just send this character off in a very fun way, in a very good fitting way that I don't know if it would have worked as well if they had not been in the original film. From there, I did not love this movie, so I'm going to move into more of the mixed and negative aspects of the film. A couple of the mixed elements here is that I wish Sala was in more of the film. He is in parts of the films and in the film, and he is great in the moments that he's in, but he's not in a lot of it. And I really wish we got to see more of him. Another part of this is that I think that the film, while it has a lot of great moments, a lot of great action sequences that do call back and do somewhat recapture the fantastic energy of the first three films, it never gets there 100%. There's not one moment in the film where I felt like I did watching those films. It gets close quite a few times, but never quite gets there. Another mixed element that I have to the film is, sadly, Mads Mikkelsen. He is not given much, but he's done the best. He's doing the best that he can with not much. I just don't think he's very interesting. He's not an interesting villain. I don't understand, a lot of his motives are a little iffy, and they don't make it, and they shift a bit over and over, and there's a plot twist kind of what his real motive is at the end that doesn't make a ton of sense, but he does the best with what he's given. And the last mixed element is the actual plot. This film is going to be really divisive with a lot of people simply because of the time travel element, where there's certainly a time travel element in this film where you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I'm extremely mixed on it. Yeah, I can't say much more, but you're either going to love it or you're going to hate that element of the film. And moving on to the negatives, this movie is way too long. This film has a runtime of 2 hours and 34 minutes, so over 2.5 hours long. This film could very easily have trimmed to 20 to 25 minutes off of its runtime. There is absolutely no excuse for this film to be as long as it is. It feels like almost every single scene goes on for about 30 seconds too long, or 20 seconds too long. To the point where I think that there are a couple scenes that you could completely take out. Even some action sequences, like the buggy car chase in Egypt. That scene is great, but you could cut out probably 2 or 3 minutes of that. Like, it does not need to be 10 minutes long. Make it 7.5 minutes, not 10. There's no need for that. And it gets a little frustrating where there's moments where it kind of just lulls. And this is a film that should be 2 hours and 10 minutes, maybe. That's probably the maximum that it should be. From there, I wasn't crazy about Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character. I didn't think she was terrible in any way, but like, there's just something about her that bugged me the entire time. And then, as I said earlier, I don't know how to feel about the time travel element in this film, because I don't think it jumps the shark like Aliens did in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but it really was not playing right with me, where it just felt like there were some plot holes in it of how it worked. And there are certain places that it tries to go that just don't make any sense. For me, I haven't seen much of that complaint, so I might be on an island with this one. And so those are my main 2 issues. Those were 2 issues that genuinely just kind of tanked a lot of the film for me. And it is not exactly an Indiana Jones movie. What I mean by that is it doesn't feel like it ever gets to the awesomeness of those first 3 movies. It's always good, in my opinion, or usually good, but it never quite gets there. And I think if they had fixed some things, it could have gotten there, but because they didn't, it doesn't ever get there. And that's a little frustrating for me. Overall, I had a good time with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It was a little worse than I was expecting, and a little better than I was expecting, actually, especially from reviews coming out of Cannes, and a little worse than I was hoping it would be. I walked into this year hoping this would be top 15 favorite movies of the year, and this is probably top 20 of the year so far for me. I enjoyed it, I had a good time, but it's nothing special. So if you're a fan of the Indiana Jones franchise and you have been waiting for this film and you can't wait to see the conclusion to this franchise and Harrison Ford's character, this is a good movie. It is a fun film. It does not match the quality and excitement of the original 3, but it is much better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I would recommend to buy it. Barely, so I would say barely go out and buy it.